Hello and welcome to Slice of Pie. Welcome to our newsish show that we do every week on this channel. It's a Friday and it's definitely not too late in the afternoon. I'm not recording this at like 8 o'clock at night. How are you guys doing today? I'm doing okay. My mother moved out and I'm kind of sad about that. I love my mom a lot, and this is the first time in my life where I am going to be separated from her. There's actually a whole vlog about the whirlwind of events that happened today, and I'm still recording it. In fact, actually, we're taking a break to record this video because this video has a strict time and deadline, but the other one, well, it does not, because I kind of just record stuff and edit it together and hope that it comes together well. That being said, the timer has started, the clock is ticking, and I'm going to have my own place sooner rather than later. And I have a lot to do before I can get to that point, and a lot to save, and a lot of it's gonna be one heck of a ride for the next 3-ish months. That being said, we do need to finish the Nova project, which is actually sitting right here on this desk, mostly done. The case mod is done. The liquid cooling loop is done. I'm still waiting for my cables from CableMod. Now that being said, CableMod did actually reach out to me and apologize for the wait, which was very nice of them. They didn't have to do that. And they refunded my shipping, which is international. So they are definitely biting the bullet on that one. So thank you, CableMod, for at least keeping us in the loop, being like, hey, we're sorry. Linus ordered like way too many cables and we're fucked right now. That is a possibility, actually. So that is that. And before I move, I do kind of have to finish another project. The PC that's on the test bench, the old AM4 PC, I do want to take it off the test bench before I move. Partially because it works and it's still a good PC, and the other part of it is because I've seen the amount of dust that accumulates from just having cats, and I'm going to have a dog in the new place, and although he's not like a dog who would like ruin that computer, the amount of dust and stuff that might build up on it might not be so good. So I was originally just going to put it in its case, which is actually inside the closet, but I can't because that case is just damaged beyond repair at this point, and it's so old that the USB 3.0 header has to go through the case and out the back and plug into the motherboard, which, okay, it's vindicative of the time. It's just this case, I don't even know where the standoffs are. In fact, actually the IO shield for this motherboard, I'm gonna have to try to find that, and I don't know where I'm going to find it. But I am thinking of just picking up a NZXT H500, I think it is. Yeah, it's the full tower, but like smaller full tower. I've been thinking of just picking up one of those to stick it in and calling it a day, because the rest of the components are there and it's not really going to be that expensive to get it inside a case. And since the theme is red and black, I can go ahead and go with the red and black theme of that case, which is still muted, but it will look nice enough. The only thing I'm concerned about is that knock to a fan, because that thing's pretty ugly. And there's going to be a side window if that is how the plan that goes forward. That being said, in order to afford that, I'm going to have to save extra money on top of the money that I'm saving to move out, because I don't want to use any of it for any of the renovations that I might be doing. Now, without further ado though, we do need to talk about game news, because we got a bit of interesting stuff that we do kind of need to talk about. Game news. So, yeah, what's happening in the gaming world today? Well, today in particular, the news came out that Monolith is hiring for a new Zelda game. Now, them working on Zelda is not an uncommon occurrence. In fact, actually, Monolith has helped on every 3D Zelda game, I want to say, since Skyward Sword. So they've been helping Nintendo make these games for a little while now. The part that's interesting is we actually have concept art that, although not Zelda, has some similarities to the Zelda franchise. And with that concept art, my mind immediately goes, is Monolith making their own Zelda game? Now, this isn't unheard of, especially because Nintendo has been experimenting with the Nintendo franchise, with the Zelda franchise a lot lately, with Cadence of Hyrule being a Crypt of the Necrodancer skin, or a Crypt of the Necrodancer skinned with Zelda. And if we get Xenoblade with Zelda, I might die. Speaking of dying, Borderlands 3, it got announced, and there's a trailer, and it's awesome. And I also really want to play that game. Borderlands is actually a game series that you may not immediately associate with me, and that's because I've never actually played or talked about it on these channels. But when I played the first game, I totally was trying to figure out how the heck I could make my own claptrap. Yes, that annoying little robot. I love that little robot to death. Maybe it's annoying, but I love it. I still want it. Switch Mini and Switch Pro. What the heck? Now we've actually got multiple outlets saying that they actually have sources saying that they are going to possibly be a thing. That being said, I honestly don't know how this is gonna work. Is the Switch Pro just a normal Switch with more power, or is it a stationary Switch that stays in your living room? The funny thing about it is that is actually floating around, that the Switch Pro is actually going to be a Switch that is stationary and just kind of sits in your living room. That being said, it could still maintain the brand of the Switch if there is some sort of connectivity to a secondary device. Now, if you can take your Switch and then swap games like mid-game, that could be pretty awesome. I don't know how that would work. You'd have to have like 2 copies of the same game card, unless you're able to download it onto the Switch Pro. Either way, this is actually very similar to a situation that I talked about with the potential of the NX back on this channel. That video is dated and definitely has a lot of information that is not true anymore, because we were going based off of speculation at that point. But there is a good amount of evidence that this might actually be Nintendo's new strategy, which would be weird, speaking because their new relationship with Microsoft almost seems like it's hinging on the fact that they're not in the home console marketplace anymore. That also being said, if Microsoft and Nintendo are currently working together on this, the Switch Pro might actually be just a Nintendo branded Xbox, which that would be even weirder. Let's actually get into some tech news now, because we have a little tiny bit of tech news. Tech news, tech news, tech news, tech news. AMD and ray tracing seems to be a persistent rumor as of late. In fact, it actually seems to be propping up more and more. And the thing about rumors is the more they pop up, the more they possibly are true. The more sources that come out about something, the more likely we are to see it. Now, AMD including ray tracing in Navi might actually drive the price up and might move it out of that lower bracket that we all kind of assumed that it would occupy. That being said, AMD is in the perfect position right now to undercut Nvidia as hard as they can. And if they do, well, that could be a very interesting situation to be in. Now, I'm looking forward to Navi and seeing what the heck it is, and however AMD plans to go forward, especially because Intel is definitely going to be creeping into the space that Vega currently lives in. Zen 2 is definitely on the way, especially because Zen 1 plus cores have actually been slashed in price. We actually can now pick up some pretty affordable 2600s or Ryzen 7s and Ryzen 5s at the exact moment. Right now you can actually pick up the APU, which is even capable of gaming for about $140-ish, which is actually really good. This is actually a pretty big sign that they are trying to move the stock and get it empty so that the new Ryzen processors won't be competing against themselves when they launch. Intel Game Engine is actually a sign of how Intel intends to move forward with their game software. It actually looks very, 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 very similar to AMD's offerings. That being said, this is just a preview, as none of the Intel processors are really going to be able to take full advantage of the software. But with this moving forward, we could definitely see some pretty cool stuff from them. And then just kind of something cool to talk about, Hardware Unboxed actually put out a video where they made a tiny, like this big, little gaming PC using a Ryzen processor. I just want to kind of pimp this one out a little bit because it's such a cool video and a cool concept. I've been saying for a while now that APUs can get way better than they already are, and if they decide to, those APUs could definitely take a much smaller footprint than any current desktop. Imagine taking Nova, the whole Nova build, and cramming it into the spot of a GameCube. I want to eventually get to that point so I can make that kind of gaming PC. But we're not there yet. You can still build a pretty awesome gaming PC, but building in that form factor will limit how much upgradability you have. I personally would build just a really small form factor mini ITX PC with room for a graphics card, because then you at least can upgrade into a rather reasonable power range. With that, I do want to wrap up though. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed watching this video, you can leave a like, comment, subscribe. I'm going to try to edit this video. I'm actually like really tired right now, and hopefully I can get this video out on time. So thank you guys again. Wolfie out.